Hey, what's up, everyone? You're not going to believe this. Well, actually, you probably will believe it, given the current situation that we're seeing in these modern times take place. The New York Times, I heard about this earlier. I don't just search the New York Times because all of these news media sources are so undependable anymore. But I was reading and I was watching the news, Fox News particularly online. I was looking to see what they had to say. And I started searching church ban because I'd been hearing people talk about that. So I found out that they particularly said that churches are the number one cause of this virus. They're the number one source of spreading this virus. And they need to put a ban on churches for a while. And then they told the churches, no singing, no praising, and no talking. No chanting. No singing, no talking, no praising, no chanting. Particularly singing and chanting, they said. And according to the news, the California churches went against that and started singing and chanting. They said that goes against our quote-unquote religious liberties. Now, I consider myself spiritual. I don't consider myself under that category personally. I define as a spiritual, and I'm a believer in Jesus Christ as Redeemer, Forgiver, Savior, Forgiver of sins. That's myself. That's that. I'm sticking to it. But they want to ban any type of spiritual liberties that have to do with Christ believers. Why? I have a question for everyone out there who thinks that that's perfectly fine, understandable, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. If you think that's perfectly fine, then tell me this: why is nothing said about the temple shaloms? Why is nothing said about the Jewish synagogues? Why is nothing said about the Islamic Muslim mosques? Or, well, not all Muslims are Islamic, but the mosques. Why is nothing said about the mosques, the synagogues, and all of the other different religious groups that gather? You see a lot of those around, not around here, but you see a lot of those still. You see videos made of them gathering. From what I can see on, from what I see, what I've seen online, people talking about various things, and I mean, you can still see that other beliefs are still gathering, but they still target one particular belief, and that's the belief in Jesus Christ. They told Church of Christ that they shouldn't be gathering. They told the Baptists they shouldn't be gathering. They told particularly churches not to gather, and now they're thinking of banning them again. Now, if this were under any other set of circumstances, people would probably be having a literal fit, because it would go unconstitutionally, and it would also infringe upon your personal civil liberties, your personal and civil liberties, which that's what originally they claimed the ACLU was supposed to have stood for, was the American Civil Liberties Union was supposed to have stood for personal rights, but then they warped it into something completely different and went against believers in Christ most of the time. But, just like apparently the FCC group, they can say everything they want, but if you mention in a positive way, you mention the Lord, yeah, you're taken off of TV. All these groups were warped into something completely different, morphed into what they were not intended for. But back to this original topic, where's the American Civil Liberties Union on people's gathering? Now, I understand that when large groups of people get together, even if you don't know you have it or whatever, that you have the likelihood of passing this virus on, but the majority of people that I see who are gathering on the videos and images, the videos and pictures they're showing online, from what I see, those churchgoers that I see, now to me, the way I feel, when two or more gather, whether it's online or in person, when you're watching a video of someone preaching the word, when you're watching someone speak, whether it's online or on TV, whatever, that's where two or more gather, He is also. That's the way I feel about it. So it's like you're having church online, you have church at home, you're having church wherever you're listening, whether it's on the radio and you're listening to, and millions of other people or thousands of other people or just a few people are listening to the same radio broadcast, TV broadcast, or online video or online broadcast. You're gathering together. Your consciousness is focusing together, unified, unity consciousness. But here's the thing. They're blaming particularly Christ-believing churches. Now, another thing that I have an issue with is they're saying they need to, older people can continue to go to church, but the youth that don't know they have it, they're likely the ones spreading it. I'm thinking, well, originally they were telling older and elderly people that they were the ones that needed to be careful. Now they're saying to ban the young people from the churches. In some of these churches, the government got in, and first of all, how the government can send ordinance over the churches, I have no idea. There's a separation of church and state, but apparently since executive laws, the executive branch and the federal branch, the federal government, they not the federal branch, but the the executive branch and the federal government, the feds, so to speak, I guess, they have a jurisdiction over the laws that are over the state. Even though there's a separation of church and state, when there's a global crisis, a pandemic situation, they step in and control things until things are at bay or balanced out. That's what they claim. But when you start hearing about people like the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, you hear about these people and they talk about removing the suburbs, ending, basically just integrating everyone together, whether you like it or not, whether you're this, that, or the other, just integrate it all together and just open the borders and let 22 million people, undocumented people, vote, and then that would be illegal, and then they wind up having these, he wants to have some kind of guerrilla law, the guerrilla court, kangaroo court, whatever it is, not guerrilla law, the guerrilla warfare is what I was thinking of, kangaroo law, and he wants to allow, kangaroo court, he wants to bring in international law, international court, put us under international powers, but have us be the leader. I don't think that'll work because other countries will step in. You should hear this mess. You just should hear what we're having happen. And they said they want to, and every day in school, young people are now being taught a certain type of thinking. And they're pushing Marxism, they're pushing communism, they're pushing socialism. When I was in school, they taught, commie, go home. You know, they said, you're a communist, you're bad. That's what they said. It was like, whoa! Hank Hill. How dare you be a communist? Don't say those words in America. That's what it was like. How do we flip? It's like we're in a different world, which, oh boy. Anyway, we know the times we're in. But I I don't usually like to get into those types of topics for these videos, but I felt that I needed to speak and give my 2 cents. Now they want to ban young people. They want to ban young people from ages 1 to 17, as they call minors, under the law. They want to ban them from going to church. Now, I feel where two or more gather. I get my information online from the internet. I should go. I haven't been in a while, but that's just what's happened. I should have. But I mean, it should be people's right to go and gather wherever they want to gather. They're wearing the masks, they're wearing the PPE, the personal protective equipment, they're wearing all of that, but yet they're still banned, and they're still being, if the churches that are wearing all of those PPE, necessary items, they're wearing that protective equipment, masks and everything, if they're still spreading this thing, that means that stuff's not doing you any good to begin with. None whatsoever. If wearing a mask is supposed to stop the spread of this thing, or slow the spread of this thing, and the churches are all wearing masks, then tell me, how is the mask stopping the spread? It's not. I mean, it's just more like self-security, like they said on the radio and on the news. I mean, on Fox News, but like some people were saying. Now, I'm not saying anything, giving my opinions on certain things, but I just feel that why ban particularly Christ-believing churches? You don't hear anything about all of the other thousands of different beliefs, ever how many there are. You don't hear anything about that. What about the mosques? What about the synagogues? What about all the other belief systems and gatherings that take place? What about the protests? They're trying to tell me that the rioters and the protesters getting together back to back, they said they should. First of all, a church can't sing praise, and they can't chant, and they can't talk. But yet a rioter can yell out loud, and that doesn't do anything. And the churches are wearing masks. Some of the rioters are now wearing masks. The protesters are now wearing masks now that they're forced to. But yet the ones in the churches are wearing masks and they're to blame? That doesn't add up. And they want to ban young people from going to church, ages 1 through 17, as they call minors. They want to ban them why? Because they want to program their minds, because young people are more easily manipulatable, and they want to make them think the direction that those in control want them to think. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And they said they're saying that we're the devils. We're the devils. All of us, we're the devil. The light side is the devil. Good is evil, evil's good, right? That's what's being viewed right now. I don't understand their way of thinking. To me, they're being the devils. They're being the snake in the grass. Not even in the grass anymore. It's preaching from the high hilltops in the trees. But anyway, rioters can riot and yell in the streets, but churchgoers can't gather. Families can't gather. Friends, family, people can't gather. They can't even have home church gatherings. They can't even gather in a group. But yet, rioters can riot and yell. Worshippers are not allowed to sing or sing praise or chant, but yet they can chant BLM all day long, which the BLM movement is now being controlled by the blue side. If you look that up online, it's actually promoting and donating to the blue. Yeah, to the dim side. Really, really sad how fraudulent it all is. Control the youth, control this world, right? And the only reason why they're getting onto Pelosi is because they want to bring in Cortez and all of them. They ban gatherings of Christ believers particularly, just like they make fun of them and belittle them on TV. But yet it's okay to gather in riots and in protests. And you're wearing masks in one, they're wearing masks in the other. If that's the case, that doesn't do you a bit of good then. It doesn't add up. It's all control. And why focus on one particular belief? Because that's what they always do. I've never seen such a time in which there's so much discrimination. And believe me, I'm very open-minded. I've experienced things now, and I've experienced things throughout my life that many people would never believe. Sadly, even those in the believer community would never even believe the things that I've witnessed. The unbelievable interdimensional spiritual things that I have witnessed. And just things from strange times, things from all kinds of things I've dealt with that many would have a hard time believing, but those in this community thankfully do believe it. But I just want to say that what's happening now is just completely wrong, and it is beyond public safety. It's now more for control. Signing out. Peace. I'll talk again later, and thank you. Please help be the voice of reason in this crazy world. My links are below if you'd like to show support. Signing out.